Penguin Audio presents We Are All Completely Beside Ourselves by Joy Fowler, read by Orlagh Cassidy. In memory of the wonderful Wendy Weil, champion of books, animals, and, in both categories, me. Your experience as apes, gentlemen, to the extent that you have something of that sort behind you, cannot be more distant from you than mine is from me. But it tickles at the heels of everyone who walks here on earth, the small chimpanzee, as well as the great Achilles. Franz Kafka, A Report for an Academy. Prologue. Those who know me now will be surprised to learn that I was a great talker as a child. We have a home movie taken when I was 2 years old, the old-fashioned kind with no soundtrack. And by now the colors have bled out, a white sky, my red sneakers a ghostly pink, but you can still see how much I used to talk. I'm doing a bit of landscaping, picking up one stone at a time from our gravel driveway, carrying it to a large tin washtub, dropping it in, and going back for the next. I'm working hard, but showily. I widen my eyes like a silent film star. I hold up a clear piece of quartz to be admired, put it in my mouth, stuff it into one cheek. My mother appears and removes it. She steps back then, out of the frame. But I'm speaking emphatically now. You can see this in my gestures. And she returns, drops the stone into the tub. The whole thing lasts about 5 minutes, and I never stop talking. A few years later, Mom read us that old fairy tale, in which one sister, the older, speaks in toads and snakes, and the other, the younger, in flowers and jewels. And this is the image it conjured for me, this scene from this movie, where my mother puts her hand into my mouth and pulls out a diamond. I was tow-headed back then, prettier as a child than I've turned out, and dolled up for the camera. My flyaway bangs are pasted down with water, and held on one side by a rhinestone barrette, shaped like a bow. Whenever I turn my head, the barrette blinks in the sunlight. My little hand sweeps over my tub of rocks. All this, I could be saying, all this will be yours someday. Or something else entirely. The point of the movie isn't the words themselves. What my parents valued was their extravagant abundance, their inexhaustible flow. Still, there were occasions on which I had to be stopped. When you think of 2 things to say, pick your favorite, and only say that, my mother suggested once, as a tip to polite social behavior, and the rule was later modified to 1 in 3. My father would come to my bedroom door each night to wish me happy dreams, and I would speak without taking a breath, trying desperately to keep him in my room with only my voice. I would see his hand on the doorknob, the door beginning to swing shut. I have something to say, I'd tell him, and the door would stop midway. Start in the middle, then, he'd answer. A shadow with the hall light behind him, and tired in the evenings the way grown-ups are. The light would reflect in my bedroom window like a star you could wish on. Skip the beginning. Start in the middle. Part 1. The storm which blew me out of my past eased off. Franz Kafka, A Report for an Academy. 1. So the middle of my story comes in the winter of 1996. By then, we'd long since dwindled to the family that old home movie foreshadowed. Me, my mother, and unseen but evident behind the camera, my father. In 1996, 10 years had passed since I'd last seen my brother, 17 since my sister disappeared. The middle of my story is all about their absence, though if I hadn't told you that, you might not have known. By 1996, whole days went by in which I hardly thought of either one. 1996.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?